All my just front like they tapped in. You already know. Poppin'. Ain't no stopping me now, steady rockin'. Watch them hate on me now cause I'm locked in. Watch the hate on me now cause I'm poppin'. I ain't stopping.
And the New York Giants are the Super Bowl champs.
What's going on, Giants fans, sports fans, NFL fans? Welcome back to another episode of the New York Giants Our Way podcast, episode 3. I'm your host, Big Lou, with my co-host, Big Pat Sports Talk. And today, we got a special one for you, right? Everybody knows that we got a deep wide receiver room right now. What, 15 wide receivers, I believe it is, Pat?
Right now, after a couple of releases, it should be down to about 13.
Okay. Now, as we addressed earlier in a conversation on a previous stream on Big Pat's live stream earlier, go check it out. We addressed the feelings between Dable and Slayton, right? How Slayton handled all the adversity last year, being benched for sales and all that, and then coming out and being the leading receiver, right? And we think that Dable has a liking to the guy and wants him to succeed in this offense. But a lot of people didn't know that Lawrence Cager was scouted by Dable when he was in high school. So this is a guy that Dable has believed in and has wanted to give an opportunity to for quite a few years. What do you think that means if he was to gain a spot on the 53-man roster this year?
Well, more than likely, that means we're going to carry 3 tight ends on the roster. Or does Dable consider him a receiver? You said he scouted him as a receiver back in the day. So is he part of that? Well, if he's part of the receiver room, we will have 14 receivers vying for maybe 7 or 8 spots. So if Lawrence Cager is in favor, that means somebody like Shepard or somebody like Colin Johnson or somebody like Bryce Ford Wheaton, Cole Beasley, one of those guys, Mickens, Crowder, all those guys are fighting for maybe 2 spots in the receiving room, because I believe there's 5 receivers that are locks. And that's Jalen Hyatt, Isaiah Hodgins, Slayton, Paris Campbell, Wandale Robinson. He's scheduled to actually come off the pup next week.
Early, yeah.
So those 5 spots are locked. So let's just say they keep 7 receivers. So that means Shep, Beasley, Crowder, Colin Johnson, Cager, Pimpleton, Mickens, Bryce Ford Wheaton. That's 8 people right there that's fighting for spots. That's the 13. And I think we released a Pope kid. So, yeah, that's 13 receivers fighting for 7 spots.
Now, what gives him a one-up on those remaining 8 receivers?
What gives
tight end?
Yeah, the fact that he can play tight end, he's multifaceted, and that's what they want on this team. They want people that can play multiple positions. So, yes, Cager has experience lining up at receiver, and yes, he has experience lining up at tight end. So when they need an extra tight end, he can play that role. And if they need a receiver to go to the outside that's tall in the red zone, he's 6'3" or 6'4", he can do that as well. So, yeah, that does give him a little up over somebody like a Shepard, over somebody like a Colin Johnson who can't play tight end. Also, you can use Cager on special teams as a gunner. He's done that as well. So, I mean, you may be on to something here, Lou.
He's versatile for one, right? And the fact that they like him and have been observing him and scouting him and helping him develop, as he said himself in the interview, will help, keeping him around and helping him develop, so that he can do some of the things that we need from him. So that being the case, then out of our tight end group, you have Waller, Bellinger, Cager, and do we still have the Myrick guy?
Myrick Sweeney. You got those two guys fighting for spots too. Like we got we're starting to get rich man problems, man. We got too many people at positions, and somebody good's gonna have to get released.
So here's the next thing, right? If he ends up being on the 53-man roster, what have you seen from him that makes him a viable prospect to make it on the field?
Uh, Here we're gonna do Giants talk our way, and so we're gonna keep it real, no
That's
cookie
why I'm
cutter.
asking. What have we seen from him?
We haven't seen a damn thing. Like, if you really want to be honest, what have you seen from Cage and what makes him more valuable to the ship? What have you seen from Cage that makes him more valuable than a Colin Johnson? What can Cage do that you can't get tenfold from Waller? He can't block like Bellinger. He's not the receiver Waller is. He's not the receiver on the outside Colin Johnson is, or Bryce Ford Wheaton. What does he do? You can't line him up at fullback. That's not that's not fooling anybody. We know he ain't finna block. So, like, besides just being maybe a mismatch to a smaller slot defender, what does he bring that we don't already have in all other spots on the field? Let's keep it a buck. Well, what do you besides Brian Dabo scouting his kids from high school? What does he have over anybody?
Nothing other than the fact that he can play wide receiver and tight end.
Yeah,
So, um, that being said, my eye is going to be on how they attempt to use him during the preseason, because that will be very telling on if he's going to make this team, if he's going to end up on the practice squad, or if he's still a guy that they're just trying to help develop.
and that's why you put him on a practice squad. That's where he came over here. He was released off the practice squad from the Jets, and he stayed on our practice squad. So maybe they keep him on the practice squad. He takes up a practice squad spot. The only way I can see Cage being on his team is if they feel that, let's just say Waller gets nicked up or anything, they think that he can be in there and do some of the same things Waller can do. I don't believe he can, but maybe they do, and maybe that's how he makes the 53.
And then again, too, they do have a way of scheming guys open. We saw it last year with the slowest wide receiver group in the NFL. They schemed up ways to get these guys in good positions to make plays for Daniel Jones. They used every player to their strength. And that's what I like about this coaching staff. And I'm confident that with the wide receiver group we end up with is going to be phenomenal. We have so much depth and so much competition that whoever we do keep as backup is going to come in and play damn near just as good. But realistically, I'm with you. I don't think we've seen enough from this guy to even think that he can earn a spot on the 53-man roster other than the practice squad, unless he does something phenomenal, which I'm going to be keeping my eyes open for in preseason to see
Yeah.
what kind of plans they have for him. And this is just another way that the Big Blue Crew be coming at you with content in aspects that people ain't thinking about and angles that people ain't looking at because they don't see football through our lens.
I mean, the only way I can see him making his case is if he goes out there in the preseason, he goes out there with the second team with Tyrod Taylor, and he's eating people alive out there. And he's looking like Darren Waller light. What I mean by Darren Waller light is like he could do some of the same things Waller can do. He's just not as big, and he may be a tad bit slower. But you could do the same type plays with him that you could do with Waller. And if he shows that in the preseason, then yeah, I could find it to where they will keep three tight ends, because if Waller does go down, knock on wood, because I hope he doesn't, then Cager could fill that role until Waller gets back. Maybe not as good, but still effective. And if he can do that, then yeah, I would definitely see them keeping three tight ends.
Well, damn it, man. See how we solved that little dilemma real quick? Look, this was just a quick episode of the Giants All Way podcast because, like I said a moment ago, we come at it differently than most people. We look at football differently than most people. Both of us haven't played the game before and haven't been fans our whole life. We just see football through a different lens. So we come at this whole content creation about football from a totally different angle that most don't. So make sure you subscribe to Big Pat Sports Talk and hit that subscribe button for myself, G Nation, Inside Sports, Classified 3F with Joe, all of the content creators in the Big Blue Crew Sports Network. And go check us out, man. We got all your sports needs locked down. But this has been another brief episode of the Giants All Way podcast, brought to you by the Big Blue Crew. Until next time,
Yeah.
y'all know what it is.
This is a Big Blue Crew production.